Hi everyone, welcome to our Tuesday TNT. A good day for me, looking forward to some friends from Melbourne arriving and they'll be staying with me for 4 days. My old PA is also coming up with a group of friends and that's going to be fun in the middle of April. So good to have an opportunity at least for people to come and stay. Got the beds, got the facilities, so why not? Don't all decide that you're going to come at the same time. That's the only thing. So let's get on with the news. Now, as far as passengers arriving in Thailand, there was talk about this tourist tax, arrival tax. It sort of never really came to anything. But there has been a little bit of a sneaky rise. Let's see what's going on. Passenger service charges rise at main airports. In airports of Thailand has raised its passenger service charges at 6 main airports for departing passengers on both domestic and international flights. And the charges went up from 700 to 730 baht for international flights and from 100 to 130 baht for domestic flights. And this applies to Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Don Mueang, Hat Yai, Phuket and Suvarnabhumi airports. So at one stage or another they were proposing a 300 baht arrival tax. Well, that's not sort of happening for now anyway, but we do have a 30 baht rise. But I suppose the cost for everything go up over time. It's only 30 baht, nothing really to worry about. I suppose just keeping pace with inflation. Going to our next story now, and we sort of keep on getting a story like this every day or so as this current crackdown continues. Reported in KhaosotEnglish.com, German and Canadian are arrested teaching Shaolin course in Koh Pha Ngan. And immigration police have arrested a Mr. Songpet, 37, of German nationality, and Ms. Arbely Natalie, 34, of Canadian nationality. They arrested them at the Samakaruna village number 8. They were charged with working without a permit. The Koh Phangan tourist police had previously received a complaint regarding a yoga practice organised by foreigners. Mr. Songpet would give a class called the Shaolin Experience on March the 29th from 2 to 5, as publicised on social media through the Samakaruna Facebook fan page. Well, I mean, if you are going to work without a work permit, probably best not to advertise it. And officers came to the Samakaruna and spotted a group of foreigners engaged in activities similar to Chinese boxing, dancing and muscular stretching, with Mr. Songpet leading the group and teaching various postures. The appearance is the same as the complaint, so the officers introduced themselves and apprehended him. Mr. Songpet stated that he teaches the Shaolin Experience course and it costs 9,000 baht per person. Mr. Songpet was also discovered to have overstayed in Thailand for over 34 days. We don't really get to see what Mr. Songpet looks like, but you get the idea that he's probably got some Thai heritage, even though he is a German citizen. It's our Tuesday TNT, and a big thank you to our sponsor 5 Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com. There is a link in the description below and it gives a special deal if you are a TNT viewer and you'd like to come to Phuket and avail yourself of their services. So go to it. Now, I hate doing these stories, but I do need to do them as reminders that this keeps on happening and it could happen to you. It's reported in thesun.co.uk, holiday hell, mum's warning as Brit's son left unable to speak and fighting for his life after horror motorbike crash in Thailand. And Adrian Wallace, 34, was hit by a car while he was on holiday in Phuket and his distraught family didn't have the funds to bring him home. Later on we'll hear that he hit the car didn't hit him, but we'll get to that later. The 34-year-old was flown home after spending 2 months in a hospital in Thailand. Although Adrian is now awake and can open his eyes, he's still in a semi-comatose state. And his mother said it was really, really tough. Although he has his eyes open, I don't think he recognises it was me. Although Adrian faces a long and complicated road to recovery, his mother says she's trying to stay positive that he will get better. He was taking a break in between jobs working on super yachts when the nightmare occurred. And the worried mum later found out her son was in a coma, unconscious, unable to make any movement, and with a serious head injury. He also had knee fractures, multiple rib fractures, facial trauma, and a dislocated hip. And there were no witnesses to the accident, and it's believed Adrian's bike caught the back of a car. A police report from the crash said Adrian had driven a motorcycle normally and had crashed into the back of another car. His mother said, I just think it was a really unfortunate accident, and I'm obviously really upset at the outcome for Adrian, but I don't feel any real anger towards anyone else. Now, the article doesn't really speak about it, but it appears he may have had some sort of insurance. Maybe he even had the correct license to rent a motorbike. But I think after reading all these over all this time, and despite the fact that I ride a motorcycle just about every day, if you are a tourist, you're not used to riding motorcycles, and you're coming here for a holiday, and you want to enjoy yourself and have a few drinks, just don't rent a motorbike unless you really know what you're doing, unless you're familiar with motorbikes, and of course, unless you've got the correct license. It's better just to perhaps take a taxi or some other transport, or maybe even go on a motorcycle taxi, where at least the people driving it usually do that sort of thing for a living, and they do it every day, and most motorcycle taxi rides are uneventful. Anyway, you've really got to think before you rent a motorcycle. I think that is the bottom line in that story, and we wish Adrian and his family the best in his recovery. As we head to Cowsod English and talk about a random post, the Defence Minister, Songkran said on Monday there is no sign yet that there will be a military coup. Oh, that's nice to know. Songkran adds that top brass are new generation leaders with modern mindset, although there's no way to fully prevent a coup from being staged. But Songkran points out that the government is not pleasing the top brass, as there's still disagreement on arms purchases. So there you go, put that on your headline. There won't be a military coup, according to the Defence Minister. Moving on, Bangkok Post reporting today, entertainment centres, not just about gambling. So it sounds like the PR and propaganda are in full swing, and it looks like sections of the government are trying to sell the opportunity of building the first legal casino in Thailand, and they're putting their own spin on it. And investments of more than 100 billion baht are anticipated for every venue within the government's much-touted Integrate Entertainment Complex development project. And the Deputy Finance Minister said the legislation would permit gambling activities only within designated areas, while online gambling would not be allowed because the government's unable to control it, particularly in terms of preventing the involvement of minors. But it was only yesterday that we read out that the government had shut down some 25,000 online gambling sites, so clearly, to an extent, they can control it. And he said, moreover, being an entertainment complex does not only mean a gambling venue, which is just a small component of such a project. Just a teeny amount, you won't even notice it. And the crucial aspect, he insists, is to incorporate other forms of entertainment, such as hosting world-class concerts and establishing a Disneyland, which would create employment opportunities and hugely stimulate the economy. And the CEO of the Disney Corporation's waking up this morning going, what? He said, so far, there is nothing clear about the project, and all we have are the findings from studies and operations taken by other countries. It certainly looks like sections of the government seem to be in favour of a casino, including one of the Deputy Prime Ministers, Anitin Charnvirakul. But a good article from Pattaya Mail on the other side of this particular issue, and it says, after jubilation comes cold feet about Thai casinos. And the writer says the near unanimous vote in the House of Representatives to support a committee report broadly supporting casinos in luxury complexes is now suffering the inevitable bucket of cold water. And one major concern is that gambling tours, particularly from China, will be organised on a continuing zero-sum basis. And then further down, zero-sum tours all have in common the ability to cream off the profits into a chain of private hands. And given the recent publicity about senior Thai policemen being accused of money laundering via illegal gambling sites, it's hardly ridiculous to ponder how easy or difficult it will be to establish a proper regulatory framework. On top of these concerns, we can expect to hear much about the threats to family life and the corrupting effect on teenagers if legal casinos are given the green light. And some traditional Buddhists also argue that casinos will be a disincentive to tourists who love beaches, culture and Thai cuisine. Well, the beaches, the culture and the Thai cuisine will still be here. And another senior politician summed up the issue by suggesting that heartache rather than fortune might be the end result of casino introductions. The lucky thing, I suppose, for Thailand, if it does go down this track, is that there is decades of experience from other countries and how they've found casinos perhaps assist their economy or be a blight on the landscape and their community. So we're not done with casinos yet in Thailand. Now, speaking about the economy, quite a few reports out about the Thai economy compared to other Southeast Asian economies. This summary from aljazeera.com, Thailand's economy stumbles as Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia race ahead, and the Thai economy is falling far behind its Southeast Asian peers amid growing middle-income trap fears. And Thailand's household debt reached nearly 87% of GDP last year, according to the Bank of Thailand, among the highest on earth. And nearly 1.5 billion of that debt is estimated to be made up of high-interest informal loans. Now, after decades of solid growth, Thailand is displaying all of the hallmarks of the middle-income trap, where a combination of low productivity and poor education leaves much of the workforce stuck in low-paid, low-skilled work. And Thailand's economy grew just 1.9% last year, compared with a growth of 5% or higher in the Philippines, Indonesia and Vietnam. And even neighbouring Malaysia registered a 3.7% expansion. And despite the recovery of Thailand's key tourism sector, which accounts for about 1/5 of the economy, its prospects are not looking much better in 2024. And the World Bank on Monday said it expected the Thai economy to, grow their 2.8% this year, slightly better than Bangkok's own estimates. And critics say that Thailand's military leaders for years turned off global investors, became too reliant on China's economic rise, and squandered the potential of young Thais by neglecting to fund an education system capable of producing a workforce suited to the digital era. And a World Bank report said that Thai youth and adults were below the threshold level of foundational reading literacy. Meanwhile, Thailand's English language proficiency ranks among the lowest in ASEAN. And just a quick check, as we have been doing with xe.com, this is a whole year chart showing the US dollar to the Thai baht. And the greenback has slowly been increasing in value against the Thai baht, or the Thai baht falling, whichever way you want to look at it. And currently the US dollar up to 36.6 baht to the dollar, and it looks like that trend is probably going to continue, at least in the short term, and we'll keep an eye on it. Heading to patiamail.com, and they've got a good list for a big event coming up. Celebrating Songkran in Pattaya, Bangkok and across Thailand throughout April. Full list here. And it's got lists like this one talking about Songkran Festival in Bangkok, and it lists all the locations and the dates and times where those activities will be happening. There's obviously plenty going on. And then it continues with a list for each of the general areas, the sort of northern area, northeastern, down the bottom there, the southern region. So listing all the activities, all those locations, if you are interested in the Songkran, I'll put a link to that in the description of this video for anybody that's looking for various parts of Thailand and the Songkran activities that will be happening. It's only, less than 2 weeks. The Songkran Day is the 13th of April. That's the actual Thai New Year. But the water splashing activities usually start maybe a day before in some areas, and in some places they'll go for a couple of days. And in places like Pattaya and Chiang Mai, I think you can expect the activities to perhaps go on for 5 or 6 days. Good luck with that. So thanks for watching today. Please support the channel by subscribing to it. And please also support our sponsors, 5starmarinephuket.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.